York's classic rock. Q1043.
That's Rick Allen playing those drums. That's Def Leppard, and Rick Allen is here with us this morning here at Q1043. We have a lot to talk about, but first, let me get over the part that always seems to embarrass him, but it's important. You know, he became the drummer of Def Leppard when he was 15 years old.
15.
And at the height of their worldwide fame in 1984, he had a car accident where he lost an arm, and he never gave up. And even though already he was a big rock star and a hero to millions, he became even more of a hero because of his resiliency and his belief that he could overcome what could have caused a lot of other people to
just give up and not even get out of bed in the morning.
And now, besides being a rock star and a fine artist, and we'll get into the Wentworth Gallery show and what you'll experience if you join him there on Saturday in just a moment. Besides that, Rick's a philanthropist. Over the past, well, it's been well over a decade, he's reached out to teenage cancer patients, kids with special needs, youth in crisis, at risk, families who suffer from domestic violence, and also veterans who have served in Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan. He was awarded the Humanitarian Award by the Best Buddies of California twice, in 2002 and 2012, and he was awarded the Wounded Warrior Project's Carry It Forward Award. And he continues his work helping wounded warriors through his own foundation, the Raven Drum Foundation. So besides entertaining us with some of the greatest recordings in the rock canon, he has devoted his life to doing really wonderful things that benefit thousands and thousands of people. And he always blushes, but I think it's important.
And inspires.
What a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Well,
for
I think
that.
it's important that people know that and how much work you've done and how you've
persevered.
Persevered personally through the years, inspiring others, but also devoting so many hours of your time to this important work that you do.
It's become really important for me. I took a lot of my experience of trauma and how I dealt with it, whether that be, meditation or breathing or diet or working with horses. That was really, really interesting. But I took that to our warriors, and I realized after meeting our warriors that they speak the same language as me, and I understand about self-medication and all that stuff. So I took my experience, and I learn a lot from them also. So it becomes this wonderful two-way street.
Well, it's a story that, if it weren't real, would almost sound made up. I mean, a great, successful rock drummer who loses an arm.
There's a movie that should be made.
I know.
Right?
I mean, it's an incredible story.
Yeah.
It really is. And at all your shows, you have special guests that are there that you take, that you devote a great deal of personal attention to.
Yeah, they deserve it. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves to be paid attention to. We all have a story. And I always say, we're all traumatized in some shape or form, just some of us more than others. And I think, even though my trauma wasn't combat related, the mind doesn't know that, So it's a worthy cause. It's really good, and it helps me along the way.
Now, you are a fine artist as well. You understand the distinction. The fine artists get their work displayed in art galleries. And you will be at the Wentworth Gallery in Short Hills on Saturday from 5 to 8 p.m. Now, they're actually suggesting that you RSVP to go because they're expecting maybe an overflow crowd.
That's helpful.
But what works of yours will be on display?
There's going to be all kinds of pieces that were inspired, growing up in England. A lot of flags, Union Jack flags, and telephone boxes, and double-decker buses. But there's one piece that I worked on recently that I'm particularly proud of, and I'm just calling it Legends. There'll be many of them.
Now these are portraits.
Yeah, and I started out with this really cool sort of posterized version of Steve Clark, and I'm particularly proud of it because it was the first time I tried this technique. And it worked out really good. It was one of those pieces, you look at it closely, and it doesn't particularly make sense, but as soon as you back off or squint your eyes, then you go, wow, it's Steve Clark. And wonderful story. I sent a photograph of it to my mother, and she said, oh, I'm going to go and see Beryl, and that's Steve's mother. And they took it over there. And apparently she just, tears rolling down her cheeks. And she was just really, really proud of the fact that I'd done that. And what better way for me to show my love for Steve and the fact that I knew him,
Well, you paint. You are a photographer. You're a craftsperson. You make
jewelry.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, were these interests of yours when you were much younger, before you became a world-renowned musician, or were these interests that came to you later?
Painting, I actually started when I was very young, and got more paint on me than on anything else. But lost interest. Discovered music when I was like 9 or 10 years old. And then when my youngest was born, by the time she was old enough, we started painting together. And it just reignited my passion because I saw where she went. It was that mindless sort of place where she just was in the moment and she just did it. And no rules, just painted. So we started doing that together, and my wife encouraged me to show some of the work to other people. I think there's a bit of fear, of maybe rejection, whatever. But then when I showed the work to people, they were, the response was really positive. So I kept on doing it. So here we are.
And the theme is Drums for Peace. And the painted drums include a commemorative piece called Purple Heart.
Yeah. There's a few Purple Heart pieces. Courage After Combat was one in particular, and it was, if somebody's medically discharged, I think sometimes our warriors feel like they lose their identity, and the whole idea of that is it's a metaphor for being able to move forward in life without that tag of being a warrior. Nobody can ever take that away from them. Just because, you're not out there and you're on active duty doesn't mean to say that there aren't other things that you can find to propel you forward. And, there's all kinds of themes like that. So.
Rick Allen of Def Leppard is with us. Oh, and by the way, a portion of proceeds from the showing at the gallery will be donated to veterans programs. Rick Allen.
New York's classic rock, Q1043.